everyone, and welcome to part 2 of decorating with weeds. Yesterday I went out around my yard and foraged for a whole bunch of different seed pods or dead flower heads and greens. We found some beautiful rose hips, and today I'll be showing you how to put those together into a big bouquet or swag or whatever it is you want to make to decorate your house this winter. So I'll start with just a few things that you'll need. You always need the handy dandy pruners. I always use Velcro pruners. They're my favorite. They're always a very high quality. And you will need just something to hold the parts of the bouquet together. So there's any number of things you can use to do that. You could use the classic florist wire. This is just a strong yet very thin wire that's easy to wrap. So you can wrap around the bottom of your stems. You can also just use, if you don't have that, rubber band. That always works well. And once you have your items bound together, you are going to want to add some kind of decorative wrap around the bottom. So I have several things that I like to use. First one is this hemp twine that you can make a nice wrap with. I've got a just piece of ribbon, and again, I'm trying to kind of brighten up the house this time of year since a lot of the plants that we're using are going to be neutral colors. So I've got a kind of a shiny golden ribbon here. You could also use any color. This is a pink one that's got a little bit of a trim on the outside. I've got a fancy red, more Christmassy looking type of, I don't know what it is. It's like a stretchy ribbony sort of a thingy, and that works well. Or if you want to go something a little more natural, I've got a hemp, just a regular kind of a hemp twine. I like this green color here. So those are the things you're going to need to wrap with. Now, if you remember, we did collect a few things that were kind of brown and dead looking, and so I had talked about painting those, and there's a couple different ways that you can do that. I splurged on this fancy Design Master Just for Flowers spray, and this is really meant for fresh flowers. If you want to add a spritz of color to, say, a white flower or anything else that you've gathered or brought home fresh. It's a florist supply kind of a thing, but it works well on all kinds of plant materials. So I've got a few colors of that I'll be using today, more in the purple, green, and white. But if you don't have a fancy spray like that, you can just use any kind of regular craft paint that you might already have in your stash. Depending on what you are going to be painting, you may need to thin it down a little bit so that it goes on easily and you don't have the risk of breaking your plant material by pressing too hard if it's too thick. And you may have to do a couple of layers. But like I said, I'm going to use a spray paint today, and I think that's all I need. So let's get started with making our bouquet. I wanted to show you an example of a bouquet that I made from some weeds that I collected this summer. And in fact, this flower stalk here is like a seed stalk from yellow dock, which is a weed, or really a weed. It's also medicinal, so I have it growing in my garden. But this is what inspired me to do this. I saw this beautiful, like rusty red color, and I thought this will make an excellent dried flower bouquet. I've got my Queen Anne's lace buds here, dried up. I've got some of this wild grass. It's called Phragmites, and it's a really tall grass that grows around in my area. And then I've got these curly, I think it's like a curly willow, and I found this in it was a place that was like an old nursery where they had been growing nursery stock. And it's just those 4 different dried flowers in there, and it came out really nice. I really like it. So one of the things I wanted to point out is that if you are going to use a vase, you definitely want to get that vase now. There's a certain proportion that will make it look best. You don't want a teeny short bouquet in a big tall vase. That would look off. Your bouquet, you want it to be larger than the vase itself. So if my vase is 12 inches, I'm gonna want an 18 to 20 inch bouquet. So just keep that in mind if that's what you're planning to do. So I'm ready to head outside. I've cut up my different stalks. I've got my bee balm here. I think I'm probably gonna go with a purple on that. I'm going to give my grasses a little bit of, I've got sort of a cream colored. I'm gonna spray those a little bit with some, just to, although they're kind of nice. I may not spray those. I kind of like the yellow in those. And then my evening primrose. That definitely needs some brightening up. I'm not sure, probably either the purple or I've got sort of a cherry red color. And the last thing to spray would be the Queen Anne's lace if I want to make that a different color. I may use some of the other ones that I have that I collected this summer. And then I've got these cool echinacea, purple coneflower seed heads that I collected over the summer, and I've been meaning to get outside and spray them and make them a little bit more purple on the inside. So I think I'll do that too, and I may use them in the upcoming bouquet. I'm liking how these are coming out, although as you can see, it's not the most efficient. I've got a lot of paint ending up here on my paper, so that's not good, but these almost look a little bit like rosemary in the way that the color is taking on these. I like it. All right, these ones, these purple guys, these are looking good. Ew, I don't want to get all over my hands. Alrighty, we've got our collection, and so let's get to work building our bouquet. I really like how these turned out. Nice dark purple. I did some here are more like the black cherry, and then that's the purple there. These that were just brown before, they've now got almost a golden color to them from the greenish color that I put on, so those are beautiful. I love it. And here's the Queen Anne's lace that I painted with the whites, or it's kind of like an ivory spray paint, and I love that look. It really looks almost like Queen Anne's lace with snow on it, or frozen. That's an awesome look. I'm probably going to do some more just like that. So when you're making a bouquet, what you want to do is you want to start with sort of your filler part first. So in this case, I'm going to use this azalea branch that we found. Next, I'll fill in with some of these other rhododendron greens and see how that looks. And it's really just a matter of putting things together the way you like it. And then I will put in some of my accent pieces in on top of this. I found this cute little silver tin. I think I'm gonna put my things into that. So that's not real tall. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a little bit more off. Remember, don't take too much off at the beginning because you can't put it back on again. So I'll start by just filling in these. I may want a little bit more of the rhododendron. And next I will cut these down a bit. Have these kind of coming out the side. And then I'll put this one over here. And this one's over there. And there we go. Oh, I like it already. I like it already. Okay, next, let's put some of these tall rose hips in. Ow, I just poked myself. Be very careful with some of this stuff. It can be dangerous. Alrighty. So these will be nice. I want these to stick up above. I might have to clip off some of the thorns in there because they keep poking me. But there again, I can always go back out and get some more of these if I want, because I have more in the yard. I'm building it inside of this container, because then I can just pick it up out of here and then I'll put it together. That looks like a good start. I like it, I like it, I like it. Next, I'm adding some of the evening primrose. It really came out a really nice, almost golden color, so we'll put that in for a little bit of an accent. Put a bunch of those in and fill that in. And finally, I will put in some of my darker accent pieces here. Let's see how that looks so far as a bouquet. Now you can make your bouquet one-sided or double-sided. I've got my really cool pods. Now, I'm not going to use every single thing that we picked because that would look a little odd, I think. I don't know if those pods will fit in there or not. So it's just a matter of putting them together and putting in combinations that you like. And I like this combination. What I'm going to do next is I'm just going to put a rubber band on it for now, just to kind of hold my things together. And I like the rubber band because then I can still easily insert more items as I go along. And it also, see, I want to put this one down a little bit lower so I can easily put that down. I want it away from the other ones. So what you're looking for here is really symmetry. You know, you want, well, a combination of symmetry and something a little offset. You don't want it perfect, but you do want some symmetry. You want most of your elements spread out throughout the whole bouquet. Okay, I'm still playing with this here, adding some more things, and I decided that I didn't like the rose hips. They just really did not go well with this other red color from the azalea. So I took those out. I added in more of my now golden evening primrose. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in some of these grasses, and I'm going to have those sticking up above the top of the final bouquet. All right, I've got my grasses in here, and they are way longer than the other items, so I'm just going to go ahead. I didn't trim them ahead of time because I wasn't sure what exactly I was going to use them for. Take off some more of the leaves that I don't really like. I think that's it. So next step is going to be to bind the bottom. For this step, I'm going to use my floral wire. Again, if you don't have floral wire, then I suggest that you just use, you can just use even a twist tie that you probably have in your kitchen, left over from something, from somewhere. But I'm going to go ahead and use the wire, and I'm going to pull it as tight as I possibly can and just wrap it around. And again, I'm going to be covering this up with something more decorative, so I'm not really worried about what it looks like. And I did leave a little piece at the beginning, yay! So I can twist those together. And that's just going to secure my items here. Okay, these evening primroses, they're kind of a funky bend in them, and I can't seem to get them quite right, but I'll play around with those later. All right, so there's that, and now let's figure out what we're going to do for color. I've got a big chunk of stem here. I'm going to cut it down a little bit more. And then I'm going to go ahead and wrap that. I'm going to need something, I think, a lot thicker than the ribbon I was planning on using. So I'll have to go make a search around and see what I can come up with. I found this decorative mesh, it's called, which is just, it's like a synthetic wrap. And so I'm going to use this to wrap around the bottom. I really want to bring out these kind of golden colors in my bouquet. I always cut off probably more than I need, but it's easier to make it shorter. I can't glue the stuff back on again. So you're going to leave an end here so you can tie it. And then I'm just going to twist as I wrap. And I will put these together and just tie them. This way I've got something that's decorative, and if I want to, I can put it into a vase, or I can have it in a clear glass vase, or whatever I decide to do. Now I've covered up. There we go. I'm not sure I like the way that bow came out, but I can always put it in the back side. Now I'm just going to adjust this up and down to cover the stem. And there you go. So here's my final bouquet. I've decided that I am going to put it in the pot. I keep changing my mind, don't I? So I've got my little tin, and I'm just going to use a little bit of tissue paper to put in there and hold my, you could use a colored tissue paper. I'm probably going to need a couple of those to hold it in so it stays upright, and that would also give me a little bit of decorative color around the bottom. I may even take off some more of this decorative mesh and just kind of tuck that in around there. And I don't know, I like it. What do you guys think? What do you think? It's kind of cool. It's unique. It's different. It's got some nice colors, and I really, really had a super lot of fun making this. I love that I can just go out in my yard and find some things that appear dead and turn them into a beautiful bouquet. We'll see how long this lasts. So I hope you go out and explore in your yard, see what you can find, do some cutting, bring some things back in, and just play around with making a bouquet. So I'll see you all soon. Oops. Bye.